All right, on the way to work, there's the TT. It's going for an oil change on Friday, so soon. But we're back in the AMG for today. My wife's got her SUV back, so that's good news. But not good news that there's no AC in it for a while. But that's okay. Probably don't have too many hot days left this year. So there's a big pickup truck that parks on that part of the road you can't see where I just turned from, and it completely obstructs all of the view when people are pulling out. So this guy who's pulling up beside me was speeding like crazy. And I still had enough time, but this is why we like fast cars, because if we need to go fast, we can go fast. It doesn't mean you should always drive fast, that's not safe, but it's like I pulled out and then was looking and I'm like, yeah, that guy's moving pretty quick, so I gotta do the same thing. Anyway, this week's gonna be super cool, and I'm gonna be, I guess, able to put out a few more of these than usual. And that's because there's a bunch of office travel this week. So I don't know exactly where people are flying in from. I do know that one of my PMs that I work very closely with is coming in. I think he'll be in this morning, but I think into the office kind of like by noon. And then he'll be here for a few days. So super pumped to work with him because we work very closely together regularly. But we haven't met yet, so that'll be nice. And then, yeah, I think Thursday they have an offsite, but otherwise, hopefully, you'll be spending some time with him this week. But I don't know all the other people that are coming in, so it's kind of nice just to be in the office. And I kind of wanted to take this drive into work today to talk about some of the benefits of that. Because the last time, it was basically last year, where they had at least from my experience, where there's a big, not a group event, but like a big opportunity where there was a lot of travel that they scheduled at the same time. So just to give you an example of just like, I want to talk about the value of like meeting your teammates and stuff, but just this the coincidence of being in the office is kind of nice because the team that I'm on right now, there's a principal engineer who also works as an incident manager. So the previous team that I was on was a deployment team, and we're always trying to help make sure that we can get things done for other teams, even when they're experiencing incidents. Like if they need changes deployed, we have to work closely with them. So this principal engineer on my team now, I didn't realize that he was not local to the Redmond area. So I actually had the first time that I met him was at the office, but I didn't realize it was coincidentally during this period where they had a whole bunch of people flying in. So I sort of just got lucky that I was able to meet with him in person and talk through some stuff, which is really helpful. It can be challenging when you have, between any teams, but I feel like with platform teams, we often feel like people only want to talk with us when there's a problem, and when things are good, people are quiet. It's like, things are working, why do we have to reach out to you, right? No one's dropping you thank you cards and stuff like that. And obviously we don't expect that, but it kind of sucks because people talk to you when there's problems. So as a result of that, you can often feel like you have a lot of friction with any interaction just because it's almost guaranteed it's because something's going wrong. So it was really cool to be able to meet with this guy in person for our first interaction. And like I said, I didn't even realize he wasn't local. And then when I ended up joining this team, I discovered after I joined the team, because I was like, does he come into the office? And it's like, he doesn't even live here. So the coincidence of being in the same place at the same time is great. And there's other people too. So there's a couple of sort of like call them GEMs, and GEM is just a group engineering manager. So I'm an EM, and GEM is sort of like manager of managers. And there's a couple of GEMs that I didn't realize were not local either. Like I had figured with their tenure and stuff, just like not a good thing to assume anymore. But I just made the assumption that they were local. So, and there are two in particular that are just not local at all. Different states entirely. So I had kind of a similar thing where happened to be at the office during that week and got to meet them in person, which is super nice because I collaborate with people on their teams. And yeah, it's like this. I don't know. Like people might, depending on your work experience now, you might not even have this type of situation coming up. But for me, right when I started at Microsoft, it was like during the first sets of lockdowns, right? So I relocated across the continent from Canada and started working in the US and still was remote. Like I was basically fully remote for the first almost 3.5 years that I was at Microsoft. So physically relocated and was still remote. And the side effect of that, well, two things, right? Is like one, even the people that were local on my team, they just weren't coming into the office, which is fine, right? Like they're working remote and things were shut down. So of course, so people started to get used to working remotely, which is fine. I'm not commenting on that part because I work remotely too. So people were working remotely even if they were local, and I have employees that are in different countries. Just got to get on the highway. So what that meant for me was that, oh man, I just realized my wife took the car and didn't put gas in it. I got enough gas to get to work, but like the gas light's on. Come on. That's not. There's a comment about some type of etiquette that I'll just leave at that. So, back to what I was saying. I don't know if other people have had this experience now, whether they switch companies or teams or something, and like you basically have been working with people that you've never met. It's not unique to like having gone through a lockdown and a lot of companies going more remote first, because this type of thing did exist before, it just wasn't as common, right? I know one of the places that I don't know if I talked about this one publicly. I applied for a job at Circle CI, and Circle CI, if you don't know who they are, they make continuous integration software, right? So like GitHub Actions kind of thing, right? So they have a CI, like a CI platform, and I'm interested in being able to help engineers do work more effectively. So it seemed like an interesting opportunity. One of my closest friends and former colleague, and at the time he was working there. Was it? Yeah, at the time he was working there. He must have been. And he was an EM there. So someone that I used to manage on my team, and I don't say that as in like, I don't know. He was in industry for a long time. He was a tester and moved in. He became an engineering manager. I think I don't think is his title VP now? He's at a startup now, and he's doing awesome. So that's great. But at the time he was at Circle CI, and when I had applied there, like Circle CI is a remote. This is my understanding from the outside, right? They're a remote first company, so they have people located across different parts of the world. And I can remember when I applied there, this was a big focus of theirs, and it's from the feedback I got, the number one reason why they didn't want to give me the role, which was I had no experience at that point in time managing teams, that were across the world. Now, it's interesting. There's a lot of challenges that come with having distributed teams and like employees that are remote and things like that. But like, I thought it was kind of interesting that I wasn't able to demonstrate that I could manage teams and kind of figure that out. I guess they don't want to take a chance on it, so not for me to say. Like, they're hiring, not me. But yeah, like that's an example of one company that's like remote first, had nothing to do with lockdown or anything like that. So I'm trying to use the word lockdown instead of the other C word, because I have no idea if there's like, depending where this video eventually goes up. I know YouTube for sure. I don't know if they like have anything that like, I don't know, doesn't promote videos or something if you say the C word that we're not supposed to say. Anyway, the whole point of that tangent was that last year at this time we had this same type of opportunity when people were flying in, and this year it looks different, where I don't have my employees from Mexico flying in, unfortunately. But last year I did, and it was such a good opportunity. I think there's still a couple of people. There's at least one person on my previous team I never met. Two at least that I never met, which is super unfortunate. I should check to see if they're flying in, because they are in the U.S. and I think they're limiting the group travel to U.S. employees that were out of state, whereas last year they had like a big Latin America travel kind of thing going on. So yeah, I don't know the budget. I don't know how it's all done. I just know that they announce like what they're doing and then let us know that we should try to get people involved as much as possible. So I think before my days at Microsoft, I was told that there was a lot more travel. When I was hired on, right, my first manager at Microsoft was saying that, so I have like it's not the same, I guess, across all of Microsoft, but at least for a bunch of our teams in Office 365 part, we have like a Suzhou China counterpart to our teams. And I'll probably I'll go into detail about that probably in another talk, but like, so we have this entire other team that is our counterpart in China, and my previous boss was saying like I should expect to fly out once the lockdown and stuff was done. He's like, you could expect like at least once a year you'll fly out there, based on his experience. But I guess since lockdown and all that kind of stuff, like things just haven't been the same in terms of travel budgets and all of that. So obviously things evolve and all that, but I think that would be super cool. I'm not huge on traveling like for work, but it would be very interesting to be able to have that experience, I think. So kind of a bummer, but the whole benefit of it is like you get these interactions in person. So I think it's interesting to talk about, because it really depends on your experience in your career, right? So if you're listening to this and you're like, you're brand new in your career, like you kind of don't even know what to expect, and you're like, okay, I've been hearing people talk about in-office versus remote versus hybrid. There's pros and cons to literally everything we do in life, right? So when I talk about software engineering stuff, I might have my own personal opinions about things I like, but I need to also acknowledge that, like, just because I like something and prefer it most of the time or something doesn't mean that it's like that it's just the best, or if I don't like using something that it's the worst. There's always pros and cons, right? There's going to be situations where these things don't line up the same way. So it's the same thing with remote versus in person. And I had the majority of my career was in person, and that was great. I really liked being around my team. I liked being able to work on difficult problems, just turn to each other at our desks and like, kind of brainstorm stuff together, get a whiteboard out, troubleshoot. love that. I like, team meetings in person. Kind of read the room a little bit better, body language, one-on-ones like that. Like, there's so many awesome benefits to being in person. But that's not to say that it's like that it is the only way, and it's not to say that it's the best way all the time. So the flexibility of being remote is huge, right? So right now I'm driving into the office. It's 9:30, so I didn't get to work at 9. So that's okay. Like, so this is a bit of a hybrid situation, right? I'm going to be getting to work a little bit later. I might leave a little bit earlier, but I am also making up that time with like after hours meetings with China. So I try to lead by example and not like basically make sure that I'm not just like living at work or trying to like work tons of extra hours. I will absolutely step in if I'm needed on the weekends and stuff to help with things. I've told people when I'm on vacation, I let them know if I'm by a computer, right? Like if I go on vacation and it's really just me taking time off to be at home or something, I'll tell people like, hey, I'm going to be sitting right here. It's a long weekend, right? I'm going to be sitting right at my desk. Just let me know if you need something. But a police officer. But that's not my expectation of employees, right? So I just try to make sure that I'm flexible that way. But this is why I'm saying, like, I also make sure that I am being flexible, like, for myself, right? Driving into work like this, that kind of thing. I've told employees, right, like, hey, like, thanks for working on something later or whatever, and it's like, make sure, like, I tell them explicitly, make sure you like adjust your day accordingly tomorrow or sometime this week, right? Like leave earlier on Friday, whatever it happens to be, because I think that's important. If someone is doing something to kind of stretch and make sure that they get something done, kind of going outside of the norm, I want to make sure people are treated fairly that way. Same thing with after hours meetings, right? It's great that people can coordinate. Like, China's the opposite side of the world, and we try to make sure that at least once a week we can have a meeting with our team in China. But that means that they're waking up early, and it means that we're staying a little bit later at work. And genuinely, like, I want people to know that the expectation is not like every day you have to go work late. And if you're staying later for a meeting with China, like, please do take a longer lunch. Please do start later the next day, whatever it happens to be. But this is like one of the, the drawbacks of like remote first work and this kind of thing is like cross geo stuff, where you might find that you're working at different times. So that's one thing. The other thing is, like, as a manager, I literally need to make sure I'm reminding people to kind of be fair to themselves, because I don't want people to feel guilty about like, oh, well, I went to this meeting and I don't want to like start late because that's going to look bad. Like, I need to let them know, like, I'm doing that too. So you should too. Anyway, I want to bring it back to the in-office stuff because that's what's going to be top of mind this week. It's easy to go on rants when you're basically talking to yourself in a car. But yeah, so we don't have too much planned. There's a couple of conversations we want to make sure we're spending time on, but like, we didn't come up with like a huge agenda for the week. And honestly, I feel like last year we tried doing that a little bit, and it felt like sometimes it felt rushed, because what was happening was this sort of interesting situation where we'd like, okay, we're going to make sure we get these meetings done and we're going to talk about these things. But then, because a lot of us hadn't worked together in person, we started having all of these like very natural, like, oh, like, I wonder about this, or we should talk about that. All of these ad hoc things started coming up, and they were really good conversations. And it was like, almost like they're having more value than the things that we scheduled. or perceived more value than things we scheduled. So I'm kind of glad we didn't go overboard, like having a strict plan for anything. So I will be looking forward to just like whatever conversations we happen to have. And then we're just about to get to the fun part of the highway that I hate every morning, or every morning I'm driving in, which is from the fast lane, I have to get over every single lane to the right to exit. And I have 1 mile to do it. And there's already people hitting the brakes up ahead I can see. In both the fast lane and the normal part, which means merging is going to be a bit of a pain in the butt. So hopefully we can find a truck, but let's give it a shot here. I think I can sneak in right here. Not bad. Okay, we got 2 more lanes to go. You get the play-by-play of my my lane changes. It's funny, this like doesn't get easier. Not that it's hard, I guess, but it's like it's just a pain in the butt. Just gotta find people that are giving you enough space, I guess. There's a big truck behind me, which is always funny because, like, I don't know, depending, I must factor in that people watching this might not actually even drive cars, like, because people from different parts of the world are watching. And I've come to learn that even people that live in cities and stuff, like, sometimes they don't even have their driver's license because they've never needed it. But a big thing, and I'm just going to say this, I'm sure some people know this, but big trucks leave a lot of space. Look at this truck coming up beside me, okay? So you're going to see it in 1 sec. But look how big this truck is, okay? It's big. It's actually really short, but it's a big truck. Now, they leave a lot of space in front of them for a good reason, because they don't stop as fast as you do. And what happens is that people, like, say in a small car like this one, they're like, oh, look, there's lots of space, and then they go in front of this truck. They don't realize the person in the truck can't even see them now. Like, they're not in a good spot, and people do this all the time, and it's like, that's why I noticed I could get in front of that truck, and I'm like, yeah, that should be enough space, like, he should still see me. But there it is. Okay, we got one more little ramp to go on. I have a feeling this one's gonna suck. It's hard to explain this ramp, but you basically have a blind spot as you're merging onto the highway, which is usually fine if no one's in front of me because I can just put my foot down. But I got a bunch of people in front of me, and if one person is being a dummy and they're going slow, like, you basically need to be at highway speed in, like, I don't know, like 10 seconds from now kind of thing. Because if there's a car coming, like, they have to slam on the brakes or you better be moving fast. So we'll see. But this guy in front of me is already going pretty slow. Fortunately, no one there. Cool, okay. And we didn't use all the gas, which is good news. Which means I have to find a gas station before I leave. Okay, so yeah, the office stuff, I probably need to go double check who else is going to be in the office this week, because I think that'll be good. I do know, so I don't know when she's flying in, but Jade Wilson, so if you're watching my stuff on YouTube, you might or probably know who Jade Wilson is. If you follow me on LinkedIn and stuff, you'll know who Jade Wilson is. She's got a huge LinkedIn following, and she's growing her YouTube channel. So Jade's also a Microsoft employee, but she's from the UK. So she's going to be flying in, but I don't know if she's flying in this week, which would make sense. But I don't think she is, because we're going to meet up on Sunday. But we're going to schedule like a call on Friday and she was saying, like, we were trying to coordinate the time, and she was saying that she said something about her time, because obviously we're in very different time zones. So I'm assuming that she's actually coming next week then, which is interesting. I don't know why they would have scheduled travel like that. But anyway, that'll be cool. So I'm going to meet up with Jade. She has some ideas planned for Sunday. We're going to try to get some content put together, but I guess on Friday when I talk with her, I'll find out more for what she's thinking. She's far more creative for content than I am. She's awesome on social media, so I'm happy to kind of follow her lead for whatever she's thinking of doing. But I don't know if there's anyone else that's traveling in. I know Maho, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, Maho Pacheco, I believe is how you pronounce it. He is local and a Microsoft employee. I should probably try to just use this opportunity to be like, hey man, I'm in the office for like most days this week, so we should try to coordinate something. It'd be cool. But yeah, I was just trying to think if there's anyone else from Microsoft that would be flying in or something I should try to coordinate with. But yeah, maybe I don't know where Jade wants to meet, because I'm assuming she'll be staying around campus, and I don't live near campus. Like, you just saw me drive into work. I'm like 2 minutes away right now. But maybe we can go to the tree houses or something, but I don't know what she has planned. Tree houses are pretty iconic. That's they're at the building I'm going to. So but now we're off the highway. We got a couple more turns and we're there. Wasn't too bad this morning. How long is this video? It's upside down, so I can't see. I'm trying to find where it is on the screen. 27 minutes. Okay, so like a 30-minute drive. That's really not bad. I can live with that. It's better than when I get in the car. It's always saying almost an hour long. So, like on the way home, it'll say like 55 to 60 minutes guaranteed. But if you get into the fast lane, you can trim off like 20-something minutes usually. Yeah, this will be good. What else? Ryan Murphy and I are almost done our course. Super excited for that. There's a Cybertruck. Get ready, you'll see it. Should have been able to see it. I was trying to watch the camera to see if it was in it. But yeah, we're getting pretty close. We still got a section left that's going to be us together recording, so that'll be cool. I was telling my wife I'm really excited for that part, because when Ryan and I first started recording, we did a couple of the sections that we need to do together, like intro and outro, but most of the sections we kind of take turns doing. And we do have this final section that we're recording that is going to be together, so it'll be fun to like kind of come back and see what our dynamics are like recording together after having done this for a little bit. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be cool. It's weird because we're going to have to, I don't know if I want to explain the details of, like, we're going to have to be obviously talking with each other. It needs to be professional, obviously, because it's for a course. But even if you watched our trailer, like, you've probably experienced something like this in your life where you're trying to like be serious with your friends. And it's like, it's very hard when you're trying to be serious. It's almost like everything is funny. Even things that aren't funny become funny because you know you need to be serious. And I have a feeling it's gonna be like that with Ryan and I when we get back on. But I'm hoping with all of our training through making videos that we'll be able to kind of turn on serious mode as needed. But it's funny, and because it's behavioral interviews and stuff, the different scenarios and stuff we'll talk through. I'm just really curious to see if we'll be able to keep it all together. So that'll be cool. So that's over the next couple of weeks. We'll schedule some time for that. Then we're basically done. So very excited to launch that. We got more things planned. So we'll get moving on that. But I I told him already. I don't know if I've said this on camera, but like, I don't have a lot of hair. My hair is going away, and I think this is the last haircut that I just got this weekend. I think it's the last one I'm getting before I have a bald head. Like, I'm gonna take it down all the way. So we got to get this course done so I can have hair on my head for it, and then all the courses going forward, I'm gonna be a bald dude, be a new Nick. So we'll see how that goes. I'm also just realizing right now, I have no idea if there's going to be any parking at the office with people traveling in. But we'll find out very shortly. Okay, it says there's, however accurate it says there's 62 spots available. I like to believe it. Nice, there's definitely spots. We'll go to the far wall. I'll get parked up here, and then we're good to go. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting week. I'm looking forward to it. And then Friday... Oh, I just realized it's going to be a bit of a mess. Oh, my schedule is crappy. I can't go to the gym Friday because I have to bring in the TT for an oil change. They're going to give me a rental car. But maybe next week then I can bring my TT in to work and then record one of these from there. That'll be fun. So that's it, folks. Yeah, I'll have another one up hopefully on the way home. Bye-bye.